This is a really great question. What is the difference between the type of clients that I saw in establishments versus who I see now privately? Before we get into it, this is my opinion. You guys are entitled to different opinions if you've had different experiences between the two. Start with talking about privately. I am priced at like the top price point within Australia. My in-calls are $900 an hour and out-calls are $1,000. I also have different extras that can get sort of stacked up, so I can end up on more money than that per hour. I know that's pretty funny, seeing me looking like this, like no makeup on, saying those things. Generally, at my price point, I am very lucky that most of the men willing to pay that much for me have quite a lot of respect for people in my line of work. There are exceptions to that, and I have had bad experiences, and I've spoken about those. Across the board, most of the men willing to fork out that kind of money are very respectful to me when I'm one-on-one with them, especially the type that pre-book, especially the type of man that pre-books. That's just my experience. A lot of the clients I see privately are incredibly generous. You'll see a lot of my content with like gifts that they give me, sometimes the tips that I receive from clients. I had a client send me $14,000 for being an hour late. While that is a once in my career kind of thing, the way I am treated is like up here. In my opinion, I'm treated very, very well by these clients most of the time. When I worked in brothels, it was the complete other end. Now, there was exceptions to the rule there too, and there were clients who I really enjoyed seeing in the brothels. I had regulars there who were really lovely to me. I had guys who would pay all of my extras there, who always respected my boundaries. Some of my clients that I saw in those places have now seen me privately as well and paid my full private rate. But in general, across the board, the experience in the brothel was pretty bad. What I think it is that the kind of guy who goes into the brothel, particularly to book a standard, because that's, they're the main ones that I had real big beef with. They go in to book a standard and they want to pay the least money they possibly can and get the most bang for their buck they possibly can. If I'm getting paid $80, 80 Australian dollars to do a standard service for you, you're getting the bare minimum. And that was kind of like the standard. That was how it was in broths. There are some girls who will add a few bells and whistles into their standard, and that's perfectly fine. But I was always so upfront. I would be like, you just get this. You get one position, no touching, no kissing, nothing, one position, go until you finish, that's it. A very clinical, cold experience is what you're paying for when you pay $80. And I think that's perfectly fair. But what happened was when you got in the room with them, they weren't happy with the standard. They didn't actually want that. They want GFE or PSE, but they want to pay for a standard. In their heads, they believe that what they're paying is so high, like you shouldn't be making that much. They think that the $80 is too much for what you're doing. It's kind of like they have absolutely no respect for the work, for the job, for the workers. They feel entitled. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if what's going through their head at that point in time is that they should be getting it for free. I really think that that's the mindset that they are in. Don't get me wrong, I did have a few standard services when I was in brothels who were really lovely. Some students and people with disabilities, like that kind of thing, where I know they genuinely couldn't afford anything else. And they were really, really respectful to me in the service I was providing. But majority of the time, the people that go in wanting to spend the bare minimum are going to treat you like shit. The amount of clients I had in brothels trying to remove protection. And in most of those services, I'm getting anywhere from $80 for a standard to like $200 at most. And they think that I'm going to allow them to remove protection. Like, on what planet? I felt like my body was used by a lot of those clients. Not all of them, but a lot. It felt like they were just so rough. Like I was just an object. The way that they handled me was not passionate. It wasn't at all, ever about me feeling comfortable or me enjoying it. It was a one-sided experience for them. That's not what I experience privately with like 95% of my clientele. And don't get me wrong when I say this, I know that there are good clients who visit brothels. I have a few of my regulars who I see privately who do frequent brothels as well, particularly when they want something short notice. I'm not trying to trash every single man that goes into those places because I know that there are some that are lovely. But the standard, like across the board, the average was like one extreme to another extreme. And I think that comes down to price point. There are studies into the rates of violence against workers depending on the price point in the market. If you guys are curious, you can look into it. And I think that sort of comes into play in this scenario with these $80 standard services. But please be mindful if you're still watching this video, please don't go and attack workers who are in these places because there may be an assortment of reasons why they can't work privately. It's not as simple as just sticking up an ad and charging what I do privately. It's a lot of work to market yourself. It's a lot of money to launch that business off the ground because it is a business. And some workers just don't have those kind of resources. One last thing I want to add in here is I feel that my quality of service is a lot higher in my private bookings, because I'm not seeing continuously people back to back who are hurting me, being rude to me, which, you know, I'm sure you guys can put yourself in those shoes. Like, you've just had some guy trying to remove a condom and then you've got half an hour and you're seeing another guy. Of course, you're going to be in a bit of a bad mood no matter how hard you try. Because my experiences are so much more positive privately, that's sort of reflecting in the way that I approach my work and how much I generally enjoy my work. I'm going to end this video here because I'm yapping way too much, but I hope that's helped answer that.